Good afternoon. It is Friday, July 7th, 2023. Jesus spoke differently to his disciples than he did to the crowds. He explained things more thoroughly, and he had a higher expectation of their understanding him. Sometimes he communicated with more than words. This is one of those times. In Mark chapter 4, verses 35 to 41, and I'm reading from the New Living Translation, second edition. It says, as evening came, Jesus says to his disciples, let's cross to the other side of the lake. So they took Jesus in the boat and started out, leaving the crowds behind, although some other boats followed. But soon a fierce storm came up. High waves were breaking into the boat, and it began to fill with water. Jesus was sleeping at the back of the boat with his head on a cushion. The disciples woke him, shouting, Teacher, don't you care that we're going to drown? When Jesus woke up, he rebuked the wind and said to the waves, Silence, be still. Suddenly the wind stopped, and there was a great calm. Then he asked them, Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith? The disciples were absolutely terrified. Who is this man? They asked each other. Even the wind and the waves obey him. Jesus set the situation up. It was not a surprise to him. He was finished with teaching the great crowds that had gathered on the lakeside, and he said, let's cross to the other side. And so they got in a boat to cross. If he just walked down the seashore, the crowds would have followed him down the seashore, but he gets in a boat, and it's much harder for them to follow him there. So he gets his disciples out in the middle of the lake in a boat, and he just lays down, takes a nap. Don't ever let anyone tell you that it's not right to take naps. It is always good to have time to take a nap. That's what Jesus thought. And so he's napping in the boat, but pretty soon a storm comes up. Lake Galilee is known for serious, quick, violent storms, and the wind is blowing hard, and the waves are coming up, and all of a sudden they're starting to get water in the boat. Now, if you've ever done much boating, you know the water is supposed to stay outside of the boat, and if the water's in the boat, it's a bad thing. And Jesus was asleep like he didn't have a care in the world. The disciples, who, by the way, were experienced sailors and boaters, they knew how to sail, they knew how to handle storms, but this one was bad enough that they were afraid of drowning. This passage says 2 or 3 times that they were terribly afraid, they were frightened, and they thought they were going to drown. So they woke up Jesus with an accusation. Teacher, don't you care that we're going to drown? They're thinking that because they're in the storm, that Jesus is not caring for them. But sometimes in the storm is when he cares for us the most. So Jesus woke up, looked around at the situation, and he handled it. He just said, stop it. Silence, be still. The wind stopped, and there was a great calm. The sea became like glass. And that means they're going to have to row all the way to the other side instead of using the sails. It's calm. It's still. But that just increased the disciples' fear. Because here is this person, this man sitting next to them, that even the wind and the waves obey him. If you've ever been to the seashore and you ever tried to stop a wave, you understand how difficult it is to stop the wave when the waves are coming. They're going to come, and they're going to wash where they're going to wash. And Jesus spoke to them, and they stopped. He rebuked the wind. And then he asked a question of the disciples. Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith? Oh, what a cutting question. They're supposed to believe in him, But when the storms came up, their fear overtook their faith. Often when we're struggling with the storms of life, our fears overcome our faith. And what we need to do is make friends with the one who has the ability to stop the storm. We need to let our faith overcome our fears, even when our fears are trying to choke us. May your faith overcome your fears this week. God bless you.